Hi there, folks. My name's Matt Downs, and we're going to show you the wonders of databases using EBSCOhost. Now, this EBSCOhost is currently brought to you by the California State University Library, and we're going to jump right in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to choose what databases I'm going to use, which I can see here. Right now I'm looking at historical abstracts, which is world history, and I can change my parameters by going through and looking at all of these. If I really want, I could also select them all or deselect them all, but if by selecting them all, you're going to come up with a lot of weird stuff. So I'm going to keep American history in light and historical abstracts. Now, in honor of the Hong Kong protesters, I really want to look at the Chinese Cultural Revolution, which happened in the 1960s, which is what we're going to be learning about. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type that into my search bar. So now I have the Chinese Revolution, but I want to make sure that I get all the results that I really want, so I'm going to go down here to look at these boxes. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to link to full text, and that means that the whole article is going to be there, so I want that in. Then I want it to be peer-reviewed, which means that other historians have read this and responded to it. And I can mess around with, when the article is based around what kind of publication it is, whether it's a journal or a book. I can also do the language, so if I wanted it in a certain language, like Bulgarian or Chinese, I could. So I strongly recommend that you put this in your own language, or all the languages you can read. I'm just going to keep the all parameter on it right now, though. Now I'm going to click search, and I come up with 157 articles. Now that's a lot of information. So I am going to narrow it down on this right-hand side. Looking here, we can see these are all the current search parameters. So, this is everything that you've applied to this point, and you can actually take stuff off or add more. So we're going to add more. We're going to start here with the publication date. And the publication date is when it was written. And I don't want something as old as 1971. So I'm going to slide this up to 2000. And now I have the last 20 years of articles. The last 20 years of articles. Next, I can talk about what kind of source type I would want, or what subject I would want. And I want the Cultural Revolution in China, and as you can see, there's 36 articles there, so I'm going to click on that. And while that updates, we're going to see 36. So, I can go to an article and click on it. So these are, so I have all these articles now, and I can go to this article and click on it. Now, you're going to be brought to a page that's going to tell you all about the article. It's going to tell you who wrote it, where the source came from, what period it's about. But the most important part is going to be down here at the bottom, and that's the abstract. And the abstract is going to tell you what the article is going to be about in a brief summary. So if I read through all this, I can get a brief understanding about what's going on. But I really like this article, so if I want to read the whole thing, I can click on linked full text. If I want to save it for later, I can, and I can do that here on the right-hand side. We can add it to a folder, and if we click add to folder, it will show up here in the app. If you're not signed in, this is only temporary though, so you want to make sure you're signed in. The other cool things I can do is I can go to save it to Google Drive, or I can email it to myself, or save it to my computer. The last tool that I know we might have trouble with is citation, and if we're talking about using this in a bibliography. So if I were to cite it, here's a helpful tool to do that. And I click on this, and lo and behold, there's a whole bunch of citations. Well, since there's multiple citations, I want the specific one. So we want to do ours in MLA format, so I'm going to pass through all of this and go down to the MLA. Now here is a bibliographic citation form. It's not an in-text citation form, so make sure you remember that. But this is the bibliographic, so I can actually just shoop-de-doop, copy, and paste that into my bibliography. And that's a good way to keep track of your sources. So that's EBSCOhost in a nutshell. And how about we get to learning? Alright, bye now.